The following exponential graph represents A, growth, or B, decay. It is growth because it is going up from left to right. Which equation below represents the given table? It is C because my initial value or my start point is 320 and it is being divided by 4, which is going up by 1 here. So that'll be my initial value is y equals ab raised to the x. So my initial value is a, which is 320. My rate here is 1/4, which is the same thing as 0.25, and so there's my equation. The initial population of 5 squirrels increased by 9% each year. Using x for the years and y for the number of squirrels, write the equation that models the situation. So we got 5 as our start point and 9% each year. So our start point is A, so we know that 5 is going to go for A, and then we got 0.09 for 9%. Since it's increasing, we're going to add it and get 1.09 raised to the x. Combine the following expression. Right here we're going to distribute to -1, and then we're going to put our like terms together. 2w and 8w give me 10w. W squared and -8w squared give me 7w squared. And then -1 and -6 gives me -7. Simplify 4x minus 3 squared. Now here I use my area model and multiply. Then I combine my like terms. And I end up getting 16x squared minus 24x plus 9. Simplify x cubed parentheses 2x squared minus 3x close parentheses minus 4x squared parentheses 3 minus 5x. I distribute x squared. I have to add these exponents when I do that. Add this exponent of 1, gives me x to the third. I distribute the -4x, I get -12x squared, and I have to add my exponents, 20x to the third. I combine my like terms of 20x to the third and -3x to the third. That gives me 17x to the third. And then the other ones just go in order of exponents, and I end up with 2x to the fourth plus 17x to the third minus 12x squared. Which of the following expressions will create a quadratic expression when simplified? Alright, C will, because if I combine them, I still have an x squared, I still have an x, and I still have a constant. All the rest of them, you got x to the third, you don't have any squared, you don't have any squared. Solve for x, 2x minus 4, parentheses 3 minus x, close parentheses equals 18. First step, distribute to -4. Distribute to -4, I combine my x's here. I get 6x minus 12 equals 18. I add 12 and I get 30 divided by 6. And I get 5. Solve for x. 2 over 3x plus 5 equals 13. Subtract 5 from both sides, I get 8. Multiply by the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3 over 2. So I divide by 2, across cancel here. 4 times 3 is 12. Solve for x. Right here I'm going to solve for x. 3 over 2x minus 10 equals 12 over x plus 9. Right here, first step, I multiply by the denominator 2x minus 10 to get rid of it. Multiply that by the top part, distribute it. I get 24x minus 120. And I'm going to multiply on both sides by x plus 9 to get rid of that denominator. So I do it by both sides. I end up with 3x plus 27 equals 24x minus 120. I subtract 3x from both sides. 21x. Add 120. 147. And then divide by 21 and I get 7. Which graph shows the equation y equals -2x plus 5? So right here, my slope is -2 and my y-intercept is 5. Right here we have 5 and we have down 2 over 1. So that is my slope of my line. It's going down as a negative slope. Which graph shows the equation y equals -2? Right here it's C because it has a line going through the y of -2 straight across. This would have a 0 slope. Which of the following functions is linear? A is linear if you distribute the 1.75 and combine like terms. It makes y equals mx plus b, which is a linear equation. Which is the graph of the equation y equals negative parentheses x minus 7 close parentheses plus 8? Right here I distribute my -1, then I combine my like terms. I get 15, negative x plus 15, so my 15 is going to be way up here. It's got a -1/1 slope. So A is my graph of my line. Create a table of values for the function y equals -2, parentheses 1/2, close parentheses raised to the x. It is B because the initial value is -2, which is my y-intercept, so we see that it's sitting right here. We don't have to know anything else. Graphs classify each type of function. What type of function is in that graph? Is it quadratic because it's a U-shaped graph? Right here, what type of function is in this graph? It is none of the above. It is not linear, it is not quadratic, it is not exponential, it is not absolute value, which makes it B. What type of function does the following table represent? Linear, quadratic, exponential, absolute value, or none of the above? It is linear. It is going down by 1.5 every time, which is a constant rate. What type of function is y equals -2, parentheses 3, close parentheses x minus 4 minus 5? This forms a exponential equation because you got raised to the x minus h here is exponential. Which of the following quadratic functions have the following critical parts? X-intercepts -1, 0, and 5, 0. Y-intercept 0, -5, and minimum 2, -9. Knowing that the minimum is 2, -9, we know that's not -9, that's not -9, that's -9, that's not 2, -9. So we automatically know it's this because we see our x-intercept sitting there, our y-intercept, and our minimum. Identify the x and y-intercepts of the following function. X-intercept's 3, 0, the y-intercept is -6, so we see 3, 0, and -6. Identify the maximum or minimum of the following function. It is approaching 0. Notice how it keeps getting closer and closer to 0. 18, 6, 2, 2/3, 2/9. So it's going to keep getting closer and closer to 0. It's never going to touch. It's going to be an exponential function that has an asymptote of y equals 0. Find the maximum and minimum of the following function. 2x minus 5y equals 10. If I solve this, I know it's a linear function. Linear functions, notice, have a line going off each side. They never stop, so there's no max and no min for a linear function. Find the maximum minimum of the following function. Y equals 2 to the x minus 3. There's no maximum because it goes on forever, but it approaches -3 because our asymptote is -3. Jessica's saving money for a new iPod. She needs an additional $100 to buy an iPod. Jessica earns $20 a week in babysitting money. Identify the x-intercept and interpret the meaning. 5, 0. At 5 weeks, she has earned enough money to buy the iPad. Each week, she gets closer and closer to $100 in her bank account. So she's showing how much she's saving in her bank account to get to $100, her goal. Solve for x. 3 parentheses x plus 7, close parentheses squared minus 17 equals 25. And here, first step I do is multiply that out, get x squared plus 14 plus 49. I use the area model to do that, and then I distribute my 3. Alright, I get 3x plus 42x plus 147 minus 17 equals 25. Combine my like terms here. 130, and I subtract 25 from both sides. Get 105. So my A is 3, my B is 42, and my C is 105. I did mode 5-3. My x-intercepts are negative 3.26 and negative 10.74. Solve the quadratic formula. Alright, so right here, I'll solve this. 4x squared plus 6x minus 1 equals 3x squared plus 3x plus 9. Right here I used my area model and subtracted on each side and got all my like terms on the same side. Canceled all those out. And end up with x squared plus 3x minus 10. I use the area model, but if we were going to use the quadratic formula here, A would be 1, B would be 3, and C would be negative 10. My quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so I just use my calculator and I'll plug it in. So my b would be negative 3 plus or minus square root 3 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 10, all over 2 times a, which is 1, and I'd end up getting these two solutions. Solve for x. 25 parentheses x squared minus 2 close parentheses equals negative 41. Right here I distribute the 25, and I get 25x squared minus 50 equals negative 41. I add 50 to both sides. End up with 9 divided by 25. 9 over 25, opposite of squared is square root. Square root of 9 over 25, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 25 is 5. If you take the square root of a number, you have both a positive and a negative. Which function is shifted up 3 units and right 4 units from the y equals 3 parentheses x minus 2 plus 3. Right here, all I'm going to do is to shift it up. I'm going to add 3, get 6. Shift it right. We know it's opposite inside parentheses, so we know right's usually positive, but since inside parentheses, you're going to do the opposite. So that'd be negative 2 and negative 4, which gives me negative 6. So that's going to move it right 4 from the original. So there's our solution. A rocket leaves the barrel of the launcher at a height of 5 feet off the floor. What is the initial velocity of 160 feet per second? The equation describes the rocket height after t seconds is h equals negative 16t squared plus 160t plus 5. The graph below shows the rocket's height of the function in time. What is the maximum height reached by the rocket, and how many seconds did it take for the rocket to reach that height? At 5, it is at 400. So we see right here at 5 is at 400 feet for the rocket at its maximum height. Compare it to function 1. Which function is more steep or reflected? Function 1, 3x, f of x equals 3x squared. Negative reflects it, so it has to be negative and greater than 3, so it would be more steep. So we see that f of x is negative, and it has 7 over 2 is negative 3 over 5, which is greater than 3. Given function 1, which function is reflected and shifted down 2 units? So we got 2, and then negative 7, and then 3 to raise the x. Right here we see it's got to be negative to flip it, reflect it, so it has to have a negative 2. See, that one does. And then it goes down 2 more, so we subtract 2 from 7 and get negative 9. The graph 1 represents the function f of x equals 3 parentheses 2 raised to the x plus 1. Which function could represent graph 2? So graph 2, we notice right here, graph 2 has an asymptote of y equals 4. It is reflected, so it is negative. A value is going to be negative, so those, it's going, yeah, so that's not negative, and that doesn't have an asymptote of 4. Then, it is being stretched